Yesterday, while walking down Fifth Avenue, a listener stopped me carrying a bunch of packages for a delivery, and out of nowhere, he asked me that classic question any football fan might ask. What do you think about a team? Do we even have a shot? I wasn't ready for it. Maybe I hadn't had enough caffeine yet, but I blurted out something a little odd. I told him to ask me that question again only after I knew where Jaylen Ramsay would be playing. He gave me a puzzled look like, what? But the more I thought about it while he stood there juggling those packages, the more sense it made. The truth is the defense needs to reclaim its teeth. And it's not just one way. It's going to take a mix of things, so much so that when it all comes together, we probably won't even be able to pinpoint which piece mattered the most. But here's the core idea. If the Steelers want to make a real leap in the 2025 season, it's going to happen on defense. Yes, the offense has to pull its weight, but it doesn't need to be spectacular. The defense, that's where the real jump has to come from. And for that to happen, the defense must get back to relentlessly attacking the opposing backfield without leaning entirely on TJ Watt's shoulders. There are so many ways to get after the quarterback and disrupt plays. Derek Harmon, a first-round draft pick, has to start proving why the team invested in him, and he has to do it quickly. Keanu Benson is another player who can show the world that leaving him off the field in favor of Harmon when they run just two defensive linemen might be a mistake. Cam Hayward remains a stalwart on the line, and the pressure from the inside can be a game changer. When a defense can push hard through the middle, it forces the offense to pick a direction fast. It makes the quarterback think, TJ Watts, coming from here, Alex Highsmith's there. I better dump this ball before I get crushed. Linebackers like Patrick Queen can be creatively used in blitz packages, mixing things up unpredictably. And that's not even the full story yet, because the secondary now has a new weapon, Jaylen Ramsay. His exact role hasn't been finalized, and we probably won't get clarity until the draft. But there's a strong case to keep him in the slot corner position. Last season with Miami, Ramsay logged over 700 snaps as a boundary corner, but he also played almost 200 snaps in the slot and some in the box. He had his ups and downs, missing tackles more often than before, but also set career highs with tackles for loss and quarterback hits, showing he can be disruptive close to the line of scrimmage. On the other hand, I'm not a fan of the idea of him playing safety. That suggestion keeps coming up, and maybe the Steelers will try it out. They might want to tap into a second phase of his career by sliding him deep, like they did with Minkah Fitzpatrick. But from where I stand, that's not what I want to see. I'm tired of watching elite defensive backs line up far off the ball, almost surrendering space and losing their aggressive edge. Ramsay has always been a dynamic playmaker, someone who impacts the game far beyond just interceptions or passive coverage. Back in his prime with Jacksonville, he was everywhere on the field, making plays in every way possible. I'm not expecting him to replicate that exactly now, but I do expect that style to be where he's most comfortable and effective. So let him play up front, let him show his teeth, make quarterbacks sweat, and sometimes run away from him. Bring that swagger back, mix things up, and inject some of that classic, relentless, and aggressive defensive spirit that Pittsburgh football fans know and crave. Now, shifting gears a bit, there's a question I get a lot about the coaching, specifically about whether the misuse of TJ Watt in the playoff game against Baltimore, as well as how Minkah Fitzpatrick was handled throughout the season, raises doubts about the quality of the Steelers' defensive coaching staff. Honestly, I've been thinking about that for a long time. This isn't something that just popped up overnight. There's a lot of chatter and sometimes wild narratives about the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, especially from people who don't cover the team closely. You hear about non-losing seasons, which is a pretty meaningless stat in Pittsburgh, because it's almost expected. But what really hits home is the recurrent pattern in playoff games, especially early on, where the team just gets steamrolled. Looking back, the losses in the playoffs show this clearly. Whether it was getting crushed 28-4 against Baltimore, or down 31-7 against Buffalo, or even a tough 42-21 loss in Kansas City, the defense hasn't been able to adjust quickly enough. The same goes for a 48-37 loss against Cleveland, or that painful 45-42 defeat against Jaylen Ramsay's Jaguars in 2017. There's nothing that exposes coaching, whether good or bad, quite like playoff football. And this is true not just in the NFL, but even more so in sports like hockey and baseball, where series force constant strategic changes and adjustments. In football, the playoff spotlight puts even more pressure on coaching to adapt on the fly. It's when coaches pull out the special plays, the secret weapons they've been holding back all season, those surprise elements designed to catch the opponent off guard. But when your defense is getting dominated right from the start and it takes too long to respond or adjust to that pressure, it's a clear reflection on the coaching staff. That was exactly the story against Baltimore. It's not just disappointing, it's indefensible. That's why after that season ended, I publicly said it was time for the Steelers to look for a new coach. This isn't personal, it's about the fact that the pattern of poor adjustments and slow reactions has been dragging the team down for too long. Despite the talent the team might have on defense, and despite hopeful moves in personnel, it remains to be seen whether it will actually translate to wins if the coaching can keep up. Since Dick LeBeau's era, the Steelers have often had defenses that could outplay opponents but rarely outcoach them. And it's a huge difference. The ability to outthink your opponent, to anticipate plays, and to pivot when things aren't working. That's what separates good teams from great ones. And the evidence on this point is overwhelming. So as excited as I am about the potential of players like Ramsay, Harmon, Benton, and the rest of the defense, I can't help but wonder if it will be enough. Because talent alone doesn't win games if it's not paired with smart, timely coaching adjustments. The Steelers have to find a way to bring both elements together if they want to make real noise next season. The defense must not only regain its identity, but also its strategic edge. It needs to become a unit that can pressure quarterbacks from all angles, create chaos in the backfield, and make offenses uncomfortable from the first snap to the last. That means mixing pressure from the edges with inside pass rush, using linebackers creatively in blitz packages, and employing versatile defensive backs who can move around the field and keep offenses guessing. Jaylen Ramsay's role will be crucial in this. If he's used correctly, positioned up front in the slot corner or in the box, his ability to create disruption could be a game changer. He's not just a coverage guy, he's a playmaker who can influence both the passing and running game, forcing offenses to adjust their entire game plan. This kind of impact could finally bring back the aggressive, fast, and opportunistic defense that Steelers fans remember and crave. All of this comes with the caveat that the coaching staff has to rise to the occasion too. Or they need to be proactive and reactive, flexible, and creative, pushing their players to be at their best while outsmarting their opponents. If they don't, then all the talent in the world might not be enough to break the streak of early playoff exits and disappointing performances. So the takeaway here is clear. The defense is the key to the Steelers' future success. It's where the biggest gains can be made and where the team can really set itself apart. With the right mix of talent, scheme, and coaching, Pittsburgh can become a nightmare for offenses across the league again. But it will take more than just hope. It will take a complete commitment to reclaiming that defensive edge, bringing back the teeth and bite that once made this team a feared opponent. As we look ahead to the upcoming season, it's exciting to think about how all these pieces might fit together. The players have the tools. Now it's time for the coaching and the scheme to catch up. That's the challenge and the opportunity waiting for the Steelers in 2025. When it comes to defensive coaching in Pittsburgh, there's a long history of excellence, but also some frustrating moments that linger in the memory of fans. The Steelers have built their identity around a tough physical defense, one that dominates opponents and makes life miserable for quarterbacks and running backs alike. That tradition has been a point of pride for decades, but in recent years some cracks have started to show, and the patience of the fan base has worn thin. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing with speculation after rumors surfaced that the Pittsburgh Steelers are eyeing a blockbuster move involving Philadelphia Eagles star wide receiver A.J. Brown. If true, this potential acquisition could send shockwaves across the league and drastically reshape the offensive dynamics of both teams. A.J. Brown, known for his explosive plays, physicality, and ability to make clutch catches, has been a cornerstone for the Eagles offense since his arrival. His presence on the field immediately commands attention from opposing defenses, and his chemistry with quarterback Jalen Hurts has been a key factor in Philadelphia's recent success. The possibility of Brown being traded to Pittsburgh is raising eyebrows, as the Steelers have been seeking to boost their aerial attack and revitalize a passing game that has struggled in recent seasons. Sources close to the situation suggest that the Steelers might be preparing to make a bold offer, potentially including draft picks or young talent, to pry Brown away from Philadelphia. While the Eagles have invested heavily in their receiving core, the lure of fresh assets and a chance to shake up their roster could tempt them to consider parting ways with the star receiver, especially if it means addressing other areas of need. For the Steelers, acquiring a receiver of Brown's caliber would represent a major coup. Pittsburgh's offense, led by quarterback Kenny Pickett, is hungry for a dynamic playmaker who can stretch defenses and create big plays downfield. Brown's combination of speed, size, and tenacity fits perfectly with what the Steelers need to become more competitive in a stacked AFC North division. Of course, trading a player of Brown's stature would not come without controversy. Eagles fans would undoubtedly be shocked and disappointed to see such a talented player leave, particularly given his impact on the team's recent playoff runs. Meanwhile, Steelers fans would likely welcome the news enthusiastically, dreaming of the electrifying potential of Brown lining up alongside their existing weapons. At this stage, nothing has been confirmed, and insiders caution that negotiations of this magnitude can be complicated and drawn out. Still, the mere rumor of A.J. Brown possibly joining the Steelers has ignited intense discussions across social media and sports talk shows, with analysts debating the implications for both franchises and the wider NFL landscape. If this deal does materialize, it could set off a chain reaction of roster moves and strategic shifts as teams scramble to adjust. For now, fans are left eagerly waiting to see if the Steelers will indeed make this stunning play, potentially changing the course of the upcoming NFL season. The Steelers pulling off a trade for A.J. Brown would undoubtedly become one of the most talked about storylines in football, and a true game changer in the league. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.